Welcome to Charts Today. It is Friday, the 19th of June, and we've had a by-election result in the UK, which is heralding a new Prime Minister, seventh Prime Minister in less as many years. So markets are a bit rattled by the prospect of political uncertainty. We're seeing sterling giving a downside target and sinking lower on the 60-minute chart. So that's the market reaction, just really the political uncertainty that's going to create. The daily chart, we haven't yet activated that downside target, but it is looking weak. And in return, we are seeing the dollar actually looking stronger. We've activated on that daily chart an upside price target, which is the first that we've had for a very long time. We've been going sideways for more than a year. So we are starting to see signs of recovery in the dollar. And that's really quite interesting, strong dollar there. And if we look at the euro, we see potentially euro weakness. We've not activated a downside target there. Spare a thought for the Japanese yen. That is pushing to new highs, nudging 162. We are going to almost certainly see more intervention, even though rates were held in the US and raised in Japan. That has not been enough to see the currency falling. So that is a key factor there on the Japanese currency. So not good news there. Looking at Bitcoin, we are seeing here we are below the cloud on the daily. On the 60-minute chart, we have downside targets, so not a good picture there either. The Nasdaq was up 2.5% yesterday, but not enough to take us to new highs. And we are seeing the futures today slightly lower. So it does look like the market will open lower in the US today. It's a holiday in the US, but not everything is closed. Looking at the UK market, we are up slightly, but the trend for the short term is below the cloud with a downside target. The DAX in Germany, we're seeing really following the US example. We're just waiting for a new high. DAX has been going sideways for quite some time. Japan is actually just pulling back on that weaker yen, although that does mean higher profits for Japanese companies. And we're seeing the Sensex hit quite badly, down nearly 1%, and the Aussie market also down nearly 1%. And we look at the 60-minute chart for the Aussie, we went higher and then lower. Brent crude, we've seen a bit of a turnaround this morning in Brent crude. We put out our morning call report to energy clients. We called it bullish for today. We are down slightly, and we are seeing crude WTI actually up. So it's a bit of a mixed picture there. Gas prices are up quite strongly. Sugar, we've talked about in the past. That is looking very weak indeed. And if we look at the daily chart, we're just waiting to see if we activate this downside target with a new low. That would obviously be bad for sugar. And if we look at the weekly chart, we can see also we would activate a new low to just below $10. So that is weakness. We're just going to wait and see, but we're bearish on all three time frames. And coffee was another one where we actually were breaking to new lows. We have recovered, but what was support is now potentially resistance. And we're seeing grains off as well. I think the Middle East crisis ending has pulled these back. Upside target was met there for wheat. Corn, we had an upside target, not quite met. And gold, down 1%. So that's quite key. And silver also down 1%. So looking weak there. And if we look at the 60-minute charts, we can see that's pretty weak as well with a downside target. Key thing is going to be what's going on with bond markets. If we look at, if we go and look at the UK bond market, first of all, the 10-year gilt is down slightly. We did have a little bit of a bounce this morning on that political uncertainty, pointing to higher yields, but we do have this downside target activated. If we look at the 10-year, we have activated a downside target there too, with the feeling that inflationary pressures are easing. Japan has not activated its downside target, so that's quite key. And if you look at Germany, another unactivated downside target, but again, the trend is up. Aussie bond yields also have activated a downside target, and spare a thought for India, which has got potentially 8% yield if we break 7. So looking at the Dow last night, the strength was in Caterpillar. They were the strongest performer. What a great chart. We've got an upside target. The poorest performer was IBM, so that's quite key. So next week I'm on the road training clients in Ireland, which probably means I'm not going to get to do charts today next week. Maybe I'll just take a week off. If there's anything important, I'll try and get a recording out. But until next time, have a great weekend. Bye for now.